right, so shalom, shalom, peace, and greetings. This video is going to be about the lie that the Bible was plagiarized from ancient Egypt or Egyptian texts. Oh, yeah, some of you think that people who believe in the Bible are afraid to touch this subject. Well, you got me messed up. Understand that. See, we gonna deal with it. See, you think that everybody who believes in the Bible is a member of the Christian church. I am not a Christian, right? Because I know that modern Christianity is what the so-called white man used to enslave Negroes and to keep them poor. If you want to understand that, look at my video, Letter of Leopold to the Colonial Missionaries. That means King Leopold, right? Where he straight out says that the Christian missionary's goal is to keep Negroes, or niggers, as he said it, poor, not to teach them to know God, because we already know God. But with that being said, I'm going to do a short study right now, but later on I may do more in depth to show you why. All it takes is some wisdom and common sense, and you're going to understand why these other texts that you love so much outside of the Bible are not sources that disprove anything in the scripture. So let's get to it. Genesis chapter 6 verses 9 through 10. These are the generations of Noah. Noah was a just man and perfect in his generations. And Noah walked with God. Now look at verse 10. And Noah begat 3 sons, Shem, Ham, and Japheth. So we're going to focus on these 3 sons right now, right? Let's see here. I want you all to see this. This is an excerpt from the Zondervan Bible Dictionary, and it is the definition of Ham, the one we just read about in Genesis, right? Ham, perhaps hot, right? 1, the youngest son of Noah, born probably about 96 years before the flood, right? And one of 8 persons to live through the flood. Who were those 8 persons? Noah and his wife, his 3 sons and their wives. That means it's 4 men and 4 women. That's 8 people. Let's continue. He, meaning Ham, became the progenitor. Progenitor means ancestor or forefather, right? So he became the progenitor or the father of the dark races. By dark races, it means these Hamite, meaning his children, the Hamites. Like the children of Israel are Israelites, the children of Ham are Hamites. But today you call them Africans, right? Not African Americans, but Africans, like Nigerians and Kenyans, so on and so forth. But let's continue. Not the Negroes. So the Negroes do not come from Ham. I'm going to show you what this got to do with this ancient Egyptology mess, right? But the Egyptians, Ethiopians, Libyans, and Canaanites. Genesis chapter 10, verses 6 through 20. His indecency when his father lay drunken brought a curse upon Canaan. So now, let's go back to the scripture. If Noah was a just man and perfect in his generations, and by the way, Noah was not a Christian because there was no such thing as Christianity at this time. He simply was a righteous man who believed in the Most High. You understand? So you people need to stop saying that this Bible is a Christian book. There was no such thing as Christianity in the Old Testament. So Noah was righteous in the Most High's eyesight, right? And he had 3 sons, Shem, Ham, and Japheth, who are the fathers of all of the nations on this earth right now. Do you think he taught his sons the same thing or something different? If Noah was a just and righteous man, do you think he taught Shem one thing and then he taught Ham something else and Japheth something else? Or do you think he taught them all whatever truth that God had given him? Why does that matter? See, I'm going to show you why it matters. Now we're going to look at this chart. And again, we know some of these dates are approximate. So we're going to make it a cool 3,000. When it says Gregorian here, it's talking about the calendar or time frame that we're on now. So let's just estimate that Noah was born approximately 3000 BC. Because even though that says 3078, you might see another source that says 3020, 3050, whatever. But it's going to be approximately 3000 years BC, which means before Christ or before the common era, like they say BCE, whatever, right? So now, let's do a little math. Oh yeah, we're going to make it plain. If today we're in the year 2023, and we are, because as of the time of this recording, it is August 10th, 2023. And Noah was born about 3,000 years ago. No, excuse me, not 3,000 years ago. 3,000 years before Christ, or before this common era. That would mean you got to take 2023, and then the years before the time of Christ was approximately 3,000. Which means Noah was born approximately 5,023 years ago. You know, and it could have been closer to 5,100 years ago. But I think the 5,000 is enough to prove where I'm going with this. You Negroes, and some of you Caucasoids too, right? And if you wonder why I call you Caucasoid, that's because that's the word that you made up. It is you Caucasians who labeled people into three categories. You grouped them: Caucasoids, Mongoloids, and Negroids, right? So you Caucasoids and you Negroes who want to love every book and every religion outside of the Bible because you don't want to obey the commands in the Bible, because that's what you're trying to do. You're trying to escape God's law. You want to go to these other religions that still allow incest, even though there are plenty of people on the earth for you to marry besides your sister or your daughter or your mother. Like Brother Polite doing sexual activity with the woman's daughter, even though he has 4 wives and he was courting a 4th woman, and you still had to mess with her daughter, but you want to believe you some kind of Egyptian king or pharaoh. Yeah, I see why you don't want to follow the Bible, because you don't like the commandments, not because you believe it was plagiarized. But let's continue. These texts that you claim were plagiarized were written approximately 1000 BC to like 1300 BC, which would only be, watch this here, 2023. We're gonna take it all far back as we can for these texts that you claim are so authentic. Oh yeah, because I looked it up. So these Egyptian and any other text that you claim are so authentic that the Bible was plagiarized from are only about 3,300 and some years old at the most, right? But Noah lived over 5,000 years ago. So let's subtract 5,000 from that. Now you got a negative 1,677 years. So you got to explain what was going on for that 1,677 years approximately from Noah to the time of these texts that you claim are so much better than the Bible. Well, I'm explaining it to you with the common sense wisdom that the Most High has given me and will give to you too, because it's really not that profound. It's just that you don't want to see it. You just want to be quick to think you have something against the Bible because you hate God. Right. You hate the Most High Yahweh, and you want to follow any religion, you so-called conscious Negroes, because you don't want to keep God's commandments. If Noah begat 3 sons, Shem, Ham, and Japheth, and Shem, he's the father of many nations, but it includes Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. And then you Africans come from Ham. I'm saying that because Negroes and Hamites are 2 different people. We come from Shem, not Ham. We look similar, but we're not. So the Negroes in the United States, now it's some of our people on the continent of Africa, don't get it twisted, but we are not the same family as everybody on Africa. Now, Noah was righteous in the sight of the Most High. He taught all of his sons the same thing. I know he did because that's what righteous men do. Then how do we get all these different texts? Well, I'm going to show you. Genesis chapter 11, which is a few chapters after chapter 6, right? Talks about the Tower of Babel. Now watch this here. Genesis 11 verse 1. And the whole earth was of one language and of one speech. So if your Egyptian gods and gods of Africa are so powerful, why don't you tell them to restore the earth to one language? Since the Bible is so fake, why can't you explain why everybody's language is still confused, even with the internet, even with all of these translation devices? You still can't speak Spanish and English and Chinese and French and Japanese and Vietnamese and Swahili. You understand? You can't speak all these languages because the God of the Bible, the God of Israel, the God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, he confounded, he confused the languages to separate you so that you couldn't do the evil that you was trying to do here. The same evil spirits then, right, are controlling the people now, trying to go against God. So the whole earth was of one language and of one speech, and it came to pass as they journeyed from the east. From the east. So that's why y'all want to go to all these Eastern civilizations and books and things. You ain't trying to go over there to go to Israel. And I don't mean the present state of Israel. I'm talking about the ancient knowledge that used to be there. You ain't trying to go to the east so you can do something good. You're trying to go over to the east so you can get back to this evil that these people were into in this chapter. That they found a plain in the land of Shinar and they dwelt there. And they said one to another, go to, let us make brick and burn them thoroughly. And they had brick for stone and slime they had for mortar. And they said, go to, let us build us a city and a tower whose top may reach unto heaven. And let us make us a name, lest we be scattered abroad upon the face of the whole earth. And Yahweh, or the Lord, came down to see the city and the tower, which the children of men builded. Right? So all of these different ethnicities, look, the descendants of Shem, Ham, and Japheth. See, all of these people, their forefather was Noah, but some of them chose to do evil here, right? Many of them chose to do evil. So what did God do to stop them? And the Lord said, behold, the people is one, and they have all one language. And this they began to do, and now nothing will be restrained from them, which they have imagined to do, right? Because they was going to imagine to do evil, just like they did before the flood. Go to, let us go down and there confound their language. To confound means to confuse, to make it where you don't know what people are saying. That's why if you speak English and you hear somebody speaking Japanese or Chinese, it sounds funny. You don't know what they're saying. And I can only imagine that to the Chinese, Japanese, and Vietnamese people and Koreans, that we sound just as funny speaking English or Spanish or whatever language, right? That's confusion. So God did that to them on purpose to stop them from doing evil, that they may not understand one another's speech. This happened whether you believe it or not. So while you're trying to pretend the Bible is fake, you figure out why you can't speak each other's language. You can't speak it for this reason right here. That's what happened. Verse 8, so the Lord scattered them abroad. Look, so Yahweh scattered them abroad from thence upon the face of all the earth. He scattered them all over the earth, all over the earth. And they left off to build the city. Therefore is the name of it called Babel, right? Because they're babbling. They don't know what they're saying anymore. Because Yahweh did there confound or confuse the language of all the earth. And from thence did Yahweh scatter them abroad upon the face of all the earth. So now you got people all over the world speaking different languages, and they have to figure it out, what each other is saying. So where am I going with this? All of these people are the descendants of Shem, Ham, and Japheth, who are descendants of their one father, Noah, who was a just and perfect man in his generation. So he taught them all about God's truth. But when these people decide to do evil, and then God scatters them all over the face of the earth and gives them different languages, You know, like whatever language the Egyptians spoke, or the Sumerians, or the people in Ur of the Chaldees, or the Babylonians, or the Greeks. You understand? All of these different languages still come from one source. So, of course, they're going to have the same stories, similar sounding stories in different parts of the world in different languages. That doesn't mean the Bible is plagiarized. That means you are either ignorant or stupid. That's what it means. And I'm going to call some of you Egyptologists stupid because you know this, but you just hate God and want to find an excuse so you can follow Egyptology and be like Brother Polite and be wicked and have an excuse to do so. Well, I'm taking away your excuse today. You're wrong for messing with 4 or 5 different women and then having sex with one of their daughters. You're wrong for trying to say that Egyptology is right when you know it's wrong. Telling you that an Egyptian pharaoh can take his money into the afterlife, but the so-called white man robs those pyramids and those Egyptian tombs of all their gold and silver, don't they? You know why? Because the Bible says you can't take your wealth with you. Watch this here. So whether you believe it or not, the Bible is right. All of your Egyptian pharaohs that thought they was going to take their money into the afterlife with them, let me show you what happened. Then shall the dust return to the earth as it was. You Egyptian pharaoh-loving Negroes, those pharaohs died and their body turned to dust, even with the embalming fluid. And their gold and silver was left right here on the earth. And the spirit shall return to God who gave it. That is a fact, whether you believe it or not. So if your Egyptian texts are so authentic and better than the Bible, why are those dum-dums gold and silver items still here on the earth being stolen by the European? That's because that phony African religion is garbage. Yeah, I'm not being nice to it because you're not nice to God's people. You're always opening your big mouth against God. So now I'm going to open my mouth against you and your false gods of Egypt. Facts. Right? You came into this world with nothing and you're going to leave with nothing except your works, whether they be good or whether they be evil. Let us hear the conclusion of the whole matter. Fear God and keep his commandments, for this is the whole duty of man. That's whether that man is an Egyptian. That's whether that man is a European. That's whether that man is an Israelite, a so-called Negro. Your duty is to keep God's commandments. For God shall bring every work into judgment. Some of you like to call it karma. We call it reaping and sowing, or judgment. With every secret thing, whether it be good or whether it be evil. So that's the reason why you have Egyptian texts that sound just like the Bible. Because these Egyptians were the sons of Ham, right? Let's go back to the image. Right? But Ham is the son of Noah. Noah taught Ham about the Most High. Ham taught his people about the Most High, which included the Egyptians. But some of them were righteous and some of them were evil. And so they got myths and other things similar to the Bible, but they deviate a little bit. So nobody copied the Bible from you Egyptians or you Ethiopians or you Libyans or you Canaanites. No, you learned that from our father Noah, and you turned it into something else. You copied Noah's knowledge and tried to give credit to Osiris and Ra and everybody else, which is a damn lie. Not the other way around. Facts. See? That's what happened when you talking to an Israelite. This ain't no Christians over here. We're not under this foolish so-called white supremacist Christianity. So now you go argue with that. Prove to me that these Egyptians did not learn what they know from Ham, who got it from Noah, and then they bastardized it and changed it into something else. And now you have the nerve to say that the Bible plagiarized from them. No, you Egyptians plagiarized from your forefather, right? But it's not even plagiarism, because if your father gives it to you, that's just something he handed down to you. But if you change it into pagan worship, that's why you get destroyed like God destroyed the Egyptians on the Passover night. God destroyed the gods of Egypt, right? So if your gods are so powerful, why were you overcome by the God of Israel? I'll let you figure that out. If the Egyptian books and texts are so powerful and true, why did this happen to them in Egypt, right? Let's see. That's if I even feel like reading all of this now. Might not even read it for you because you such haters. You just hate God. You won't even appreciate it, right? But anyway, Exodus 12:23. For Yahweh will pass through to smite the Egyptians, meaning he will kill the firstborn, every man, woman, child, every animal, for the slavery that they put the Israelites in and for the evil and idolatry that the Egyptians were doing themselves. And when God seeth the blood upon the lintel and on the two side posts, Yahweh will pass over the door and will not suffer the destroyer, which is the pestilence, by the way. You know, just like the pestilence, COVID-19 going around the world, God sent a pestilence in one night to destroy the firstborn of Egypt. Whatever he used to kill them, he just called it the destroyer, right? But we know it's a pestilence to come in unto your houses to smite you. So there you go. There you go. See? He smote the Egyptians. So if the gods of Egypt are the ones that are real, and those books in Egypt are so much better than the Bible, tell me why they fell to the God of Israel, who is the God of this Bible, which you hate. So for all those of you who love the Most High, all praise to the Most High. His word is true. Let every man be a lie, and yea, let God be true. You Egyptians ain't telling us nothing. You Egyptology-loving Negroes. You Egyptians got it from Noah, who gave it to Ham, who gave it to his children. You Africans, you Egyptians. Facts. I'm out.